Now, cubing seems pretty boring to non-cubers.
Before I even started cubing, my life was kind of boring. School was uninteresting. I didn't fit in with my friends and classmates. I used to be lonely and would always be alone with my books. I wanted to escape this boredom, as suddenly one fine day a ray of light dawned into my dark world and helped me ease my boredom, which was the Rubik's Cube. I instantly got interested in it as it was fun. There were so many patterns that I could see while solving the cube, and there were methods also which were researched well, and most of all when I started cubing, it baffled me how people could solve the impossible cube in 5 seconds. I have always believed that I never wanted to become someone else. I wanted to be myself and surpass them, and with this in mind, I set my goal: solve the cube consistently in less than 10 seconds. Initially, I was not well versed with the different methods for solving the cube. I used the one which majority used, CFOP, and got faster with it. In 2 years, I became sub 10 and accomplished my initial goal. My progress was pretty great, sub 20 in 3 months, but I took a break here which makes me sub 20 in 4 months. Sub 15 in 8 to 9 months and sub 10 in 2 years with long breaks in between that range from 2 months to 3 months. During my journey, I did stumble upon the Roux method when Alex used it at Euro 2014. At that time, I let ignorance take over me, thinking, Roux method is not that great, most of the world-class cubers use CFOP, and turned a blind eye towards Roux method and continued getting faster with CFOP. Once I hit sub 10, boredom took hold of me once more. I had achieved my goal, hence now I didn't know what to do next. I never had plans for becoming world class or going to competitions or doing big cubes etc. My only goal had been accomplished and now I was empty once more. One night while I was sleeping, I visualized something. I was using Roux method and I genuinely enjoyed it. I again turned a blind eye towards it, using the same self-justification as before. Fast cubers use CFOP. Roux is not that good. Otherwise, more people would have used it. However, whenever I have visions like this, my intuition becomes restless. To ease this restlessness, I researched into Roux. I was already solving with CFOP for 2.5 years till now and had no intention to switch back. Roux had some strong points, and the one that caught my eye was, with Roux you have the ability to turn slower than CFOP solvers yet get faster or get similar times than them. At that point I thought that we are all humans and we will hit a cap in our TPS. If both CFOP and Roux hits the same TPS cap, Roux will fetch me faster times due to its efficiency. Another thing that caught my eye was its intuitive style of solving and also its rotationless approach. I was in dilemma and turmoil at this point. One part of me wanted to use Roux and see how it goes, but another part of me was saying that I have spent 2.5 years with CFOP. It will be counterproductive to switch now and lose all that progress. Instead of listening to my rational brain, I listened to my intuition this time. My intuition said start using Roux and see how it goes, which is what I did. I switched to Roux at the end of last year. My Roux journey hasn't been smooth. The first hurdle was block building, and I despised block building in the beginning as my brain was accustomed to solving it F12 style. I had to break my old CFOP habits and solve it more Roux style. I stopped using CFOP and only used Roux. I learned how to look ahead in a way Roux Solver did. The journey was very steep, but I made progress. Once I had the basics of Roux down, I started practicing with timer. First 2 months, I just worked on breaking my old habits and replacing it with Roux habits. My progress for the first 2 months was pretty stagnant. Once I had Roux habits and muscle memory, I made quick progress. The best thing that I like about Roux is its intuitiveness and the freedom it gives me. LLC is the most free step according to me, where I can do whatever I want. I made my own method for solving LLC, looking at the patterns that I observed while solving. And the next couple of months, I made my LLC method perfect so that I didn't have to pause during LLC. I also watched tons of walkthrough solves for learning block building and practiced with Block Trainer as well. I was finally confident that I know about both the methods in detail. And it's time to make a decision, if I want to continue with CFOP or if I want to switch to Roux. I was averaging 9 seconds at that time with CFOP, and for getting faster from here, I needed to improve my look ahead and TPS and also learn more algorithms for last layer and learn F12 tricks here and there and get used to making X crosses. For Roux, look ahead and TPS didn't play that huge of a role as Roux relies on efficiency rather than TPS. I would need around 6 TPS to average 8 seconds with Roux, and 6 TPS was pretty common for me in CFOP, hence look ahead and TPS were not a problem. Also with Roux, I didn't have to learn more algorithms. With basic Roux and CMLL, you can be sub 8. I only had to get better at blocks and be efficient at them, as my LLC was pretty great at this moment. The only con was that I would lose 2.5 years of progress, which made me reluctant to switch to Roux. However, progress with Roux is much more faster than progress with CFOP, hence I will be able to get back to my CFOP times at around 6 months. Before I made my final decision, I just asked myself, which method do I think is more fun? And I replied Roux. At that point, I thought if I continued with CFOP, I would be miserable as I didn't like learning algs and I was tired of practicing look ahead and increasing TPS. I did not learn any algs after learning OLL and PLL and knew some COLL cases, and from sub 15 to sub 10, I only improved look ahead and TPS, nothing more than that. Also, if I continued with CFOP, I would be bored and I might quit cubing for good and go back to my books. Once I had measured objective analysis and also measured my feelings regarding the methods, I chose to switch to Roux, mainly because it was fun and it would keep my boredom at bay for a longer time. The ecstasy that I felt when I invented my own LLC method was too great. If I used CFOP, I probably won't feel like that, but with Roux, which was not as researched as CFOP, it gave me an opportunity to find things by myself and relive that experience once more. It was as clear as the day what I wanted to do, without crying over my lost 2.5 years of progress and choosing to walk an inefficient and counterproductive path towards Roux. My intuition assured me that this was a wise decision and there is no need to look back and doubt myself. Since then, I have used Roux. I am currently near sub 10 with Roux method and also got a 6-second Roux PB solved with it. My Roux solves are more fluid than my CFOP solves, and I overall like Roux more than CFOP. I personally never cared about big cubes or the puzzles or going to comps, hence why I only have 3x3 besides me. My new goal is to become sub 8 with Roux method and find new and interesting things and create my own variations that will help and improve the Roux method. Also, don't forget to check out the video by J Perm where he goes over why he uses CFOP and why he did not go for the Roux method.
I always had the curiosity that maybe, just maybe, I'd be better with Roux, and maybe, just maybe, Roux is better than CFOP. But regardless, I kept getting faster and faster with CFOP. I broke through sub 20, sub 15, and then one day I was averaging just under 14 seconds, and I really wondered if I was missing out.